Hi, I'm Christopher Mifsud. I'm with Play on Words Studios, and we're presenting Shadow City Mysteries: A Clockwork Noir. Today, the reason we're here for Shark Tank is twofold, actually. One is to raise funds for our studio here in Malta, and also to bring awareness to the growing video game industry here in Malta as well. So the game in a nutshell is Shadow City Mysteries: A Clockwork Noir. It's a third-person narrative adventure game that's Blade Runner by way of Lovecraft Country, set in a Frank Miller Sin City kind of world with a New Game Plus twist. My passion for games actually comes from my parents. My father owned a comic book store as I was growing up. My mother was an artist. I was doing tabletop RPGs as a hobby for a while, and then I got into the movie industry for a little bit. I was a special effects makeup artist. That somehow translated into getting into video games. I actually had an opportunity in North Carolina with Icarus Studios, and I started working on games there. My first project was Fallen Earth, an MMO. And then while I was there, I moved over to other projects. Dexter the game being one of them for Showtime. That was fairly popular at the time, back in 2009. And then, from there, I traveled all over the world. To be honest, I'm really open to anybody. The thing is the one thing that I lack from experience is connections here in Malta. So while I have lots of worldly experience, I know the video game industry, I'm very interested in working with any of the Sharks here because they know the business in Malta, and that's important. And so I'm looking forward to any of them being interested in our project and taking it forward.
Missi sar jidħol fit-tank Christopher Mifsud li se jkun qed jippreżenta opportunità biex ix-Sharks jinvestu f'dinja oħra.
Hello, Sharks. I'm Christopher Mifsud with Play on Words Studios, and we're seeking €100,000 for 5% equity within the company. Play on Words Studios is a Malta-based transmedia company. We work on diverse and inclusive original IP and brands. I'm CEO, founder, and creative director of the company. I have 24 years of experience within the video game industry. I've worked for companies like Disney. I've opened studios across the globe, 17 studios across, 7 countries and 3 continents. I'm pretty well known for doing IP, original and branded. My team is equally experienced. I skipped over that there. It's 15 years equally across multiple brands: Marvel, Star Wars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The company roadmap for the next 5 years, we're looking at making multiple original IPs, supporting those with games and products. So not just video games, but also tabletop RPGs, radio dramas, shorts on YouTube and TikTok to go along with it to build the brand and the IPs. Our first IP and brand that we're working on is Shadow City Mysteries: Clockwork Noir. It's a narrative adventure detective story. Think Blade Runner by way of Lovecraft Country, set in a Frank Miller Sin City kind of world with a New Game Plus twist. So it's set in a monochromatic world with punches of color like metallics, so gold, silvers, etc. to offset the atmosphere. Competitive analysis or other games, basically comparable in cost, style, quality, and sales. We do have one outlier, which has done tens of millions of copies. That's our goal out there, but all of these are well within reasonable numbers, which I'll discuss later on for you. Our game roadmap, currently we're at a first playable prototype. We're working towards a vertical slice funding contingent, which will be finishing up, and then 1 more year of production to finish to go to full release for the first game. In between there, we also have transmedia and marketing that'll be going on along with it to support the brand. Our team composition is currently 5 members. We also offset that with experts that I know from the years in the industry, of basically experts to so we don't have to flex up as much as a company. We can basically hire the experts that we know in the fields to execute. Costs a little bit more, but honestly, the time and everything saves us in the long run. Company investment proposal. As a company whole, we're trying to raise $1 million for a number of different incentives. Those being $100,000 towards the vertical slice, $500,000 to finish out the rest of the product, so $600,000 total for the narrative adventure game, and then $400,000, which is transmedia / marketing spend, is the best explanation for that. Financial forecast, basically the first year is looking at basically all investment and then funding going out across that million piece that we're talking about, and then because it's Q1 launch for the game, puts us at basically 9 months of getting sales, and then continuing that, and then additional games feeding in that, causing a pretty nice increase as we go through. And just one last piece is the future of Malta is gaming. The Minister Shembris already talked about how the goal for the next few years is to hit 1% of the GDP in Malta to be video games and esports. Ivan Folletti says Malta isn't the hub of gaming excellence, but the home. And if anything, this might be the most fun investment you make. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for presenting this to us. I'm a bit curious. You have a Maltese surname, but you have a US accent.
Would you like to hear the little story on that?
Yes, I would.
Sure.
Very much curious.
Yeah. So my grandfather, Giuseppe Mifsud, moved to the United States in 1925, and he got his US citizenship. And then he moved back to Malta and married my grandma, Vincenzo Rappa, here, and they lived in Hamrun. They had 3 kids. In 1940, my father was born in Gozo during the war. In 1945, they moved back to the United States because they all had citizenship. Actually, I came back with a visit with my father in 2003. In 2017, I actually was here for work, and while I was here, I got my Maltese citizenship. Yeah. And like I said, the studio is registered and based here in Malta.
Thank you for sharing.
Great.
Yeah.
Are we investing in the game or in the company?
In the company as a whole. You know, I'm looking for partners here in Malta to basically ride the journey with us as we create something really.
Is this your own business or you're doing something else?
I'm a consultant as well.
Your dedication will be fully...
Oh, 100%. This is my passion project and where I see the future.
Why this particular theme, with the theme you chose for the game?
Because it is actually quite popular. Like the games I showed earlier are all other detective games or whatever. There's a hunger for it. Narrative adventure niche is super hungry for more content.
How successful has the other games been that you've produced before?
I've had million sales across the board. I've worked with budgets of $25 million for games. This is actually pretty low budget for a game. My goal is never to grow the studio to 200. I've grown studios to 200 people. The idea here is to keep it to 10, 20 maybe, if we do 2 projects at the same time.
How will this game be monetized?
It's a premium. So it's Steam, it'd be Steam or any other PC, and then we would actually work with another group to port, because that's not our expertise. We're focused on making the best PC version possible. We'll work with others to port to console, so Xbox and PlayStation. The numbers that I handed to you, they're hidden in there somewhere, are based off of $29.99 as a sale point, and look roughly 200,000 units over the course. And that's pretty, for the narrative adventure niche genre, that's actually pretty consistent, and usually you get higher than that. And then the other piece is the transmedia piece, right? So we're doing tabletop RPG with a Kickstarter, we're doing podcasts, so audio dramas. All of these are marketing, but they're also potential revenue streams, which I don't include in my numbers, because if it's marketing, it's great. We do what we need to, but if it becomes additional revenue streams for us, it's just additional revenue streams that we could put more back towards marketing.
Your play on words, where do you see it in 5 years' time?
We'll have 3 to 4 additional IPs and brands. We'll either have sequels and growing, and I learned from when I worked for Disney, IP is where it's at. It's what you can license, it's everything, right? You own popular brands and IPs.
So is this something that somebody will come and pay a lot of money for in 5 years' time, what you create?
That's the idea, would be able to sell out, or we go IPO.
What is the lifetime of a game?
For these games, they're actually evergreen, because what ends up happening with these is because the narrative adventure niche is so hungry for story. If it's a popular brand, even if the next game we make isn't a sequel to the game we did, players in this genre will go back and play the games we've done before, and they'll keep playing those. When we do come up with a sequel, people who haven't played those games, because we could do 2 to 3 years beforehand, we'll go back and play those too. Yeah.
So it's always okay.
It's very cyclical in that sense.
Chris, I'm considering in putting forward an offer, but I would like to understand one very important thing.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in selling your IP rights? Yourself, what you will be developing, at least for the next 5 years. So whatever you're developing, you just mentioned that you will be putting forward more or less 5 IP brands out there.
Yeah, we already have 3 lined up.
That is something which would be interesting for me. Obviously, we need to discuss, but
Sure, interesting.
it's like you're a footballer and I'm getting you over with me for the next 5 years. Whatever you play, whatever you score, whatever win is ours.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's...
in a simple...
He's commoditizing you.
Yeah, I know. I realize that.
Yeah?
No, it's interesting. I'd have to discuss that more. Again, coming into it, I'll be honest, the big plan for me here, and the reason why I went for the lower ask and not for the full ask, is because I really feel that there's a lot of initiatives here in Malta to support us.
As a matter of fact, we as a company, my group, we're working on this, creating an ecosystem where we get talented people who can, create, who can develop, who can do something and create something. And we're creating this ecosystem where we're supporting them besides the Malta enterprise and all that.
Sure.
So creating this space where everyone can brainstorm, having different supporting structures within the group. So be it financial commercialization, creating, discussing, you know, people coming from AI, people coming from different sectors, fintech.
Across industries.
Yes, across industries, yes. That's the idea.
It's interesting.
I mean, I'm just throwing off an idea. It's not an easy one, I know. Food for thought.
Definitely.
So you applied for funding with Malta Enterprise?
I've already done the B-Start program. I actually just
Okay.
completed that.
Oh, nice.
And then the next step would be to go on to that. But you do need some funding.
Yeah.
And all this has already been so it's been the B-Start and then the self-funding on my own. So I put in a good bit of my own from the consulting business.
Okay.
You're asking for 100,000. You've talked about some big names, some big companies. So 100,000 could be very easily brought in. I'm trying to understand because
Sure.
a person with your capabilities, look, you just saw a person who's here ready to invest in what you have to offer.
So the video game industry's been hit pretty hard this year, and actually not because it's actually a record-breaking year for them as far as making money, but because of COVID, the video game industry did very good, right?
Yeah,
What happened
very
was
very well.
people overspent.
So there's that drop.
And so now there's been 7,000 layoffs in our industry this year.
Oh.
VCs within the video game industry and publishers right now are very risk averse. A year ago, I was talking to a biz dev friend of mine. He said, Chris, no problem. Your record, everything, $2 to $5 million project won't be hard for you to sell easily, like at all. I said, fine, I don't need $2 to $5 million. I'm also trying to prove that you can do high quality games at a lower cost. I really believe that with smart production, you don't need to get these crazy costs. You can actually achieve a lot and get good quality. I went to GDC with a pitch document. Everyone was like, oh no, too high. Already within the first quarter of this year, people were pulling away within that industry. And by the end of it, I had folks that were doing very low ticket, 300,000 investments, drop to 100,000 investments. And that was for the total project. Next 6 months to 18 months, it'll change. 2024 will end, and then they'll realize they don't have any games in their slate for 2025, and they'll be scrambling to get content, right? And so that's why I'm also trying to get to a position where we're in a good space
To launch.
to launch right during that period of time.
I don't think it has anybody asked how much the game would cost.
All the games I showed you were $39.99.
Usually a game is 60 euros on PlayStation.
So, well, yeah, but that's from like EA and stuff like that, right? If you're in the mid AA to triple I space, the $19.99 to $39.99.
Do you have an exit?
The exit would be either IPO, merger, or or just keep making money.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But do you have a plan?
I have a 5-year plan.
5 year.
And again, none of that, if you notice, again, that's only the net versus the cost. It doesn't carry over the money that we make each year. I want to just be straightforward that the product I know and we know is going to make a certain amount and do fairly well within that makes this. Everything else is icing on the cake.
Basically, what I've had proposed earlier is monetizing on human capital, if you want to put it in a very crude way. But really and truly, I would not see myself as being like a parasite on that individual. The idea is to create an enabling community, let me say, where we will support people like yourself. And if you think I can add value in terms of, helping you or enabling you through the ecosystem that we have structured so far, I mean, please do consider my offer. But obviously, it's not something you need to decide there and then. I mean, we still can.
No, I've loved.
You'll be in Malta anyway.
Yeah, no, I love making new contacts on the island. It's actually been the most fun. Adding one more person, I'd love to connect and see what you're doing and seeing how we can make that a part of it.
Absolutely, with pleasure.
This industry is so far from anything I do. So already I'm gonna be out, and I'm sure one of you might.
I totally understand.
What is the request again? 100,000?
100K
5%.
to 5%.
You would consider increasing the percentage?
A little bit, but just keep in mind that part of that is also figuring that I will also go after that matching equity.
But after?
I was thinking of Dino and myself putting in an offer of 100,000
For 7.5%.
7.5, I'd be comfortable with.
Okay.
Alexis,
I'm fine. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
good luck.
Who's doing it?
Us too.
Both? Oh yeah.
Together.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, let's do
Go,
it.
guys.
I can't step forward. No, I'm not allowed to. Oh, now I can. All right.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thank you so much. Issa jgħandem bad guys nambeħilkom is-servizz.
I like the guy, yeah.
Nice. It's great.
Very good. They weren't as ferocious as I thought they were going to be. Yeah, they asked some great questions, and hopefully the answers obviously the answers I gave them, I guess, seemed to make them happy. So next step for the studios is take this funding, work with Malta Enterprises and some of the other initiatives here on the island, get more, move forward on our vertical slice, get ready for chasing publishers next year?
Għawek rajna pitch illi poġġiet taħt lenti il-qasam ta' digital games. Meta ngħidu digital games, maħniex qed nitkellmu dwar il-betting jew gambling industry li ngħidu gaming, qed nitkellmu fuq dak il-lob diġitali li tfal u mhux tfal biss jilagħbu jew fuq computer inkella fuq consoles differenti. Issemmew numru ta' kliem tekniċi fosta pereżempju AAA game li tirreferi għall-iktar lob ta' livell għoli, isom blockbuster, film blockbuster. Nitkellmu fuq indie, independent studio, referenza għal pereżempju publisher li hija dik il-kumpanija li tgħinek li wara tkun żviluppajt il-logħba toħroġha fil-pubbliku u tkun tista' tbieħha. Fil-verità, numru ta' punti interessanti dwar industrija li qed dejjem tikber f'pajjiżna, aħna flimkien mal-Gaming Malta qegħdin nimbuttaw din l-industrija li x'nemmnu li hemm karrier importanti kemm għal software developers iżda wkoll għal dawk li huma aktar artistiċi, dawk li huma l-creatives tagħna li joħolqu lob ġdid, lob li jagħmel impatt proprju minn pajjiżna.